What's happening? Happy New Year. For the year's first client vNewsletter, we're going to go off and talk about culture. A little bit different than advertising or marketing, but at the same time, you want to create an environment where people want to be, where they're feeling that sense of purpose, where they're like, wow, we're going to achieve something spectacular today. And we're really trying hard at 360 to make something like that happen here. I've received some good feedback from the members of our team, Trevor and Whitney, about what it's like to be here. And so I just thought that it would be cool to share a couple of nuggets of what we've found that's developing in our culture and what I can see as the person trying to steer and make this whole thing happen. So it's pretty exciting to come to work and be excited and love what you do and be a part of something that's way bigger. But in order to get there, there's a lot of intentional things that happen on a leadership standpoint. So there's a lot of things you can do, but we're just going to look at 3 of them. And the first thing is why. Why is it that we do what we do? I think if you can take the time to articulate what it is that you're doing to your team, you're a gifted communicator. But if you take it to that next step and go, and this is why we need to care about it, or do it this way, and these are the reasons why we're doing this, you'll have a greater buy-in and a sense of responsibility, ownership, all these things, excitement, engagement. Folks will start to understand that, wow, this is a really big vision of what it is that we're doing. And it might be the smallest thing in the corner shop down on Main Avenue, and you're sitting there going, man, why am I sweeping this floor? Well, let me tell you a story about what happened one time when this guy came through and they noticed this deal and the floor was swept that way. It can go right down to the most detailed, seemingly mundane task. So why we do things and getting people to buy in, not just with the what that we're doing, but why we're doing it, get your team to buy in on that. And let them help you shape why it is. They might have some good ideas. You know, the second thing about our culture that we've been quite intentional about developing is trying to play to people's strengths. I had a boss one time when I was right out of college, and he's like, yeah, you're really good at this, and I can see that you're passionate about that, but you're really not good at this thing over here, and why don't we work on that, because I want you to be better at this. And he's taking something that I wasn't passionate about and quite frankly wasn't all that good at and focusing his energy and trying to build me up over there. And I was like, dude, you're like missing the mark, and I don't really like that. It's part of the reason why I'm not good at it. And so what we've done is I've learned from that lesson and tried to find folks that are really talented and love doing things and are passionate and great at things that I'm not good at, and allow them to play to their strengths. So when you have someone that's excited to come to work because they love what they get to do and they're good at doing it, then we get a lot more done, and it's a lot more fun atmosphere to be a part of. You see, I think that the team itself can actually, the sum can be greater than the parts, and we're seeing it here at 360. It's kind of interesting. If you walk into any room, I don't care how big that room is, every single person in that room, if you really thought about it, is better than you at something. I challenge you to go and find out what every person in your organization is great at and better than you at and better than anyone else at, and see if there's something they can do with your company with that. And lastly, the third thing about culture that we've identified here at 360 that seems to be working pretty well is delegation, in the form of, I have total confidence in you to get this done and to do a great job with it, and I don't need to meddle in your affairs. I feel like back thinking about when folks would be micromanaging me, how much I hated that. It's like, dude, man, I got this. And after a while, you end up getting discouraged, and you're like, shoot, am I actually good at this? Am I actually capable of getting it done? There's a cool quote from Theodore Roosevelt. The best leader is the one who has sense enough to pick good men to do what he wants done, and the self-restraint enough to keep from meddling with them while they do it. And I was thinking about when I went out of town here recently in November, and I was not really involved in the day-to-day affairs of the company for a couple of days. And when I came back, I saw Whitney and Trevor were just taking the initiative and going and doing, and they knew that they weren't going to be reprimanded for doing all these things. And I thought to myself, gosh, I should probably just get out of the way even more, because these are amazing people and individuals, and they're really talented and passionate and great at what they're doing here. And we're really blessed and fortunate to have them. And so me giving them and telling them, I'm confident in you to make this happen because I know you're better at it than I am, and I trust you in this. I think that's a really empowering thing for our team, and it allows them to be willing to take risks and not be afraid of consequences. Sometimes I have to shift and shape that initiative and the boldness that they have, and you got to rein them in just a little bit. But it's only because maybe it's not that that's the wrong thing, it's just not yet. They're so ambitious and so creative, it's hard to have to rein them in sometimes. But I think it comes from that confidence that they know that I have in them to do a great job at their jobs, and I kind of try to stay out of their affairs. And so if you can do that, tell them that you have confidence, and tell your team, hey man, I believe in you guys, and stay out of their affairs, have that discipline and that restraint to do that. If you can go back and tell them why it is that you're doing what it is that you're doing, I think that that's going to work really well. And then figure out what your team is great at. These are just 3 of the things that we've been working on here, and it seems to have had a big impact on our culture, and I know that it will going forward. We've only been doing this for 6 years, and so a lot of your companies are a lot more mature than ours, and so hopefully you can take what we're learning and apply it to your own. There's a lot more on culture. We might step into that in the future, but for now, just something really positive and upbeat, telling you about our company, and hopefully you can apply them as well. We'll be in touch soon. Have a blessed day. Garth is like got the goalie thing, and Wayne, of course, is going to score like every time. He scores! Car! Hi, Wayne. How do these thoughts get into my brain? I got no idea.